Thank you for joining us today for talk and discussions. In this part of the project, Sleeping for Tomorrow, we'll meet different people around the world, sharing with us their opinion, ideas, and thoughts about the changing of our time and their hope for the future. Thank you for joining us for our talk with JAE-HYUN, an artist and a curator from South Korea living in Germany. He studied art and philosophy in Seoul and in Sydney, and media art at the UDK Berlin. He's living in the Upper Bavaria and working in Berlin, Munich, and Seoul. JAE-HYUN deals with the topic of boarding and boarding crossing in the sense of open identity. His main topic of his work are the political effect of democracy's systems and the consequences of the Cold War. In 2005, he initiated the international artist group Global Alliance, and in 2015, he curated the show Banded Images at the NDBK Berlin. From 2021, he was initiating the exhibition A5, Art and Democracy. He is the first chairman of Art5, a non-profit organization consisting of international group of artists, curators, and theorists for the promotion of the cultural dialogue between Europe and Asia. Thank you for joining us for this talk, JAE-HYUN.
Thank you for inviting me.
The topic of your work as an artist and a curator is dealing with border and border crossing in the sense of open identity. Can you tell us what does it mean for you?
The border crossing and open identity means it's a different identity, because I'm from South Korea and I was grew up in Gyeongju in south of South Korea, and for the study in Seoul, and after that I came in Germany and Berlin, and between that time I was in Australia and different countries. So whenever I visit different cities and had a different experience, I got a different identity. So that's why I say always like different identity, open identity.
For you, when you are talking about the Cold War, you're talking about South Korea and North Korea. But you came and live in Germany, and we had the war and the separation between the East and the West. And I wanted to know, for you as an artist and a curator, is there a connection between these two topics and how your work is connected with political issues?
I'm the generation of Cold War, so maybe like you. So Korea is a still divided country, and South and North Korea. So the tension between the South and North Korea is always like it's better and different, difficult, and so my time, my childhood, 70, 80 in the time was the tension was very high. So between the North and South Korea. So my experience at the time was like the propaganda, the political propaganda from the North Korea also and South Korea is very high and sensitive. And I think it's like this is the experience, and at that time was very interesting for me, and it was also influenced like for me and artist's way. This is also one very important thing that I came here in Germany, because Germany was divided in West and East, and I really interested how is Germany and before and after this. So I living here in Germany, and a big city, and also on countryside. I've got a lot of different images and different social effects from the after the Cold War situation. First time my artist work as an artist and curating stuff was very similar. So it was the curating work was like my artist work, and the artist work was like curating. So it was not a separate; it's the same direction. First project as an artist and creator was like the open identity, and the border issue was the main issue. So and what the deal was like the border issue, and I worked also with different artists, and it was artist collective work. I start with called Global Alien, which is like a artist group name. So we start the after my studied in Berlin. So our main issue was, as I said, border and the open identity. We are very mixed. We are like different. We are from the different countries. Our main member from Germany, but we are different backgrounds. I'm from South Korea, Toby from Denmark, and Jakob from Germany. And other members are also from South Korea, Japan, very mixed. And we were 12 members. So we are very from different countries. Global Alliance still working. I'm not right now in Global Alliance member, because we had a difference like ideas. I want to more like political way, political more detail, and that's why I focus on the more like political art way. There was a big issue before 2015. It was the South Korea. There was an election. The South Korea got that time new president. Her name is Park Geun-hye. She got the candidated from the Conservative Party in South Korea. South Korea as like a two big party system, similar like America, so Democracy Party and the Republicana. So it's like in Korea also one liberal progressive party, and the other party is like conservative party. And the Park Geun-hye, the president, is daughter of former military dictator. So president who called Park Chung-hee was 60, 70. He is a kind of a symbol of the successful economical way bring to in the South Korea in different way during the Vietnam War times. Korea had it in Park Chung-hee has two different identity. One thing is like, okay, he is hero of the economic, successful economy. And the other side is like devil, like because of the dictatorship. Park Geun-hye, she won the election. President election is came later, so as like president. So she got the prison because of a scandal. After that, the South Korean political was very changed a lot. After election, Park Geun-hye before 2015 slowly moved to a lot of Korean, South Korean, got the it's something long, this South Korean, this all political system and social system, and that's why they bring the people on the street, and they get a demonstration, and checked or a lot of us got on the street, and it was candle demonstration. So it was very famous in the world at that time. And Park Geun-hye got the scandal and get the prison that time. And she is now in free, but after there was a lot of changes. The election was 2014 and the 15 and culture side, a lot of the exhibition against the political, against the conservative political wave in South Korea. I got the and this political change was motivate me to bring more like focus on the political way, and more issue, bring the how we can say or strong images, bring the strong images to the how important is democracy in this country. And so I, as organization, make an exhibition at that time, 2015 in Berlin. NGBK is association and very political exhibition space in Berlin, well-known exhibition space, and the exhibition bandit images called this exhibition. The important thing is there's 3 countries: South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, which we know as like a symbol of democracy. But we didn't know that in these countries there's also censorship and political difficult, the reaction and about the symbol of the protests. For example, at that time was South Korea was it's like a little bit similar, like very the Taring Party, and then Castle Documenta in this time, this Castle Documenta 15 is a very also very political images and protest work, artwork, and South Korea has also political at the time produced a lot of political images as from the art scenes. So this art scene was very important to bring the freedom of speech for the against the conservative. For example, there was one big political banner artwork from Hong Sung-dam, invited 2014 in South Korea in Gwangju Biennale. Gwangju Biennale is the international art biennale, well-known arts biennale, first biennale in Asia. And after that was big scandal because it's as you saw, it's censorship, and there was nothing to explain it, why the bill have to hang out, So there was one symbol is like the images of President Park Geun-hye, and he covered after that because of the we can't show like our present images in our bill, our images artwork, and even if they covered in these images, also an issue because there was like chicken head, and chicken head in Korean means like it's censorship. It was censorship, and after scandal in South Korea, South Korean police took the information about the scandalship and it was blacklist. This artist Hong Sung-dam was blacklist #1. So there's the Park Geun-hye controlled a lot of artists. There was at least 100 artists name. For example, very famous art director Park Chan-wook, for example, he was also blacklisted. And a lot of artists, the visual artists and musician, for example, theater. And that's why it was very symbolic and important. This is in South Korea area, and so in Japan, we invited a art piece, for example, is in Tokyo Metropolitan Museum. They invited one installation, Nakagaki, his name, or the artist's name is Nakagaki's work is took out because of the censorship and the critical images of the Japanese Second World War. We invited all include 6 artist position. The South Korea, there's a 2 artist position. They got problem in South Korea because of the control. They send the exhibition of the artwork. So we had an exhibition without art piece. These 2 positions made wall painting. So different, very similar images, but there are different contexts in it. So it was new work. Because the Berlin was like censorship, and I never think about this. In South Korea, there was like this is a democratic country. How it's happened like this horrible stuffs. So that's why we invited the different press, newspaper, and radio casting, and there was always the Cold War system as one thing. There's angel and devil. The people change different. Okay, there's in one country this kind of symbol of democracy. In this country, South Korea, can be also in the side of devil. And it's can always can change it. And there was a lot of audience. There was a lot of people came our exhibition and check it out and everything. And this discussion, how is important, like our freedom of speech, and the also the symbol of this artwork, how we can keep it out, and also thinking about the censorship.
In the last 2.5 years, at the time of the pandemic and the new world situation, the topic of physical and virtual borders and how different political democracies reacting to this with the reaction of the people. Can you share with us some examples that you observed and tell us about some project of yours in this time of the pandemic and the changes that happen in your work?
Pandemic trends, first of all, also changed a lot of my private also. I think at that time in Germany, and we started to talk about very seriously about the corona. At that time, I was in Düsseldorf. I visited in Düsseldorf in February. So I visited one exhibition in noise, and the post noise, and there was in the train. I sit in somewhere, and came a lot of German guys and look at me, and he's from Asia. You are this coronavirus. They keep the distance and make a joking about, I don't want to get the corona, for example. And so this is the corona. The start is racism, and in Asia symbol, you're from Asia and you are like coronavirus. That's one symbol motivate me and start one project. Is not artist project, it's like project against racism in corona pandemic. I opened a group against the racism, and there was also in touch an ethical at the time open the about these issues, and we gave different advice if someone need help from us, even if also medical, also in social way. And because a lot of Asian, they still come here to study and they have not enough experience, and also because of the language, they have just very isolation situation, So I think I spent a lot of time, 8 months, 9 months for this project. And this was my experience. After that, I came, I have 2 exhibitions during the Corona. One thing is some more solo exhibition. The other one thing is a cultural exchange program during this Corona pandemic time between the Seoul and Munich. And I was curator with Maria Pomia, artist, and from Munich. We try to South Korea and make an exhibition. So she get a lot of this situation, the Corona pandemic situation, is like this way, and make a visual this new artwork and integrated artwork with whole art piece. We knew that we have to quarantine in South Korea 2 weeks, 14 days, exactly 14 plus half. Maria Pomio landed, we landed the same plane in the Incheon airport in South Korea, and she had to go in quarantine hotel. So for me, it's also unusual because I had 2 times. That it was the second time my quarantine. I had my family in nearby in Seoul. That's why I can stay there. So we had a different place, and we communicated via email or Zoom, for example, and Skype, and talk with the developed all the space. And second time was feel like a little bit better, little bit free, but I talk with her and Maria and about the exhibition and stuffs, and a little bit explain about this Korean situation, because Maria it's first time in South Korea, so she have to directly and the Korean hotel, and she didn't know what they had to do, so I explain what kind of, and the mentality of a Korean, we have to explain it. The Korean mentality, and somehow very strict, for example, they has like a very strong is tone a lot of people, oh, Corona. It's like, you are from Germany. You are also that like Korean coronavirus. It's the opposite sides. And I was in Germany, and I was also from the because of I'm from Asian place, and that's why I was like about coronavirus at that time. And I'm from Europe. I'm from Germany, so I'm also in coronavirus. So that's why it's a different experience, but it's like the same situation. It's very, very unusual. So doesn't matter where I'm from, but it's like it's. Two different countries and a little bit same experience. It's not the racism in the context in South Korea, but it's like, you foreigner, you are from different countries, and you are Korean, but it doesn't matter. You are also like coronavirus. Corona time, still right now, yes, Korea is like, very strong and prohibit without mask. Somewhere have to go. It's prohibit. It's very strong, strict, not allowed. So this is Korean station. Normally in Korea, it's very open. It's well, don't care, but it's I think it's the fear of against the corona is like in Asia. All over Asia area is especially China, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, still very strictly, a lot of fear. Maria Pomia focused on the material. She got the from the Korean hotel, and because of the corona and all the material for the selected the vinyl bag for food and different kits, and this is all different material she used like after that as like exhibition space and exhibition. The name Maria Fumia. There's also in the situation like a hotel situation, let's make a mattress used like there. And she got the every days like message from the speaker in the hotel. So this speaker give you what you have to do. It's like very unusual experience. For example, you get the food and don't open your door right now. So if I say yes, and you have to open the door, and you just as quick as possible, and just take your food and get inside. And this experience she wrote down as like day memory sentence, and selected all different sentence and also the experience, and it was like small like memory books, and it was also in part of the exhibition.
In 2001, you opened an exhibition called Art 5, and you were initiating the Art 5 non-profit association. I would be happy if you can tell us what was the idea behind of making this association and why you chose this name.
Art 5 is a non-profit association. This is for artists and curator and theorists, and we selected together and make a dialogue. We are now a lot of members living and working in Munich. Our focus right now is, for example, Munich and Seoul and Tokyo. So we focus on these two different continents, Asia and Europe. We interested in the especially in politics and culture way. Art 5 is short meaning in the double meaning. So one thing is Art 5 is Article 5, and this is German constitution. The meaning of the freedom of speech is in it. And art is also art, and that's why we use Art 5. For me, art is a symbol of the politics. Bring a lot of issues, for example, between the Russia and the Ukraine war. Art can do a lot of stuff. And also our association, we interested in this political way, how we can bring the in this issue to the public. We have a planned and different exhibitions and event programs following the exhibition, and conference and lecture and symposium and workshop and festival is like a music festival, and in symbol like how we can bring this special issue, for example, refugees, for example, war, for example, adoption, for example, in this conflict between two different countries, two different continents. For example, this anti-Semitic is also, of course, our interest area, because bring also a political discussion. 2021, there's our association Art 5, how we start, and one idea is we call art and democracy, as Kunst und Demokratie. Include our association name, Art 5. It's a symbol of the art and democracy, and that's why we use like both of the name, and we invited different artists, and actually we it's like arts festival. Our first plan was gonna invite 30 artists, but because of the Corona situation, we made a smaller. And even if it's smaller, we had 3 different space, 2 white cube art space, and the other one is public art space in the subway or in the street, and the placard, poster images put in on the wall. This art, we invite 7 different artists position. A lot of points is like in also from Asia, but they live in Europe. Discussion about what's the democracy in this Corona pandemic, and what after Corona pandemic, and we wanna talk about what the symbol of the democracy in the art scenes. So this was our main issue. After exhibition 2021, we have a very good connection with Stiftung, and so we are gonna make connection and network in Japanese art scene, and we have a plan November and online conference about freedom of speech. We are gonna invite different artists from Japan, and curator, historical, and in this different area and academic area, and also in German, our side also from our association, our board member are there, and Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Japanese literature in the Leipzig University, for example, and some of the artists, and we connected the different 2 countries, and talk about the freedom of speech.
I would like to thank you, JAE-HYUN, for joining us today for this talk.
I enjoyed your time, and thank you for your invitation.
You are more than welcome. To see more information and link about JAE-HYUN's work and projects in the links below. And for more talks and discussion, check our website www.sleepingfortomorrow.com.